very good evening. Thank you all for being here with us today. Distinguished guests, corporate partners, friends, and colleagues, we are very pleased to welcome you all on this eventful day when Youth for Jobs, with all passion and commitment to support and expand disability inclusion, is here to celebrate with you the launch of one-of-a-kind beta version of the AI-triggered accessible job platform for youth with disabilities. This unique technology intervention by Youth for Jobs is designed to empower people with disabilities in training and placements. Without further ado, let's now make way for the woman of the hour, whose brainchild is this job portal, Ms. Meera Shenoy, founder, CEO of Youth for Jobs, to address this special gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Professor Vijay Raghavan, Professor Murty, Jayesh, Ranjan, Prakash ji, and dear friends here who always support us in our work. This beta version launch of the AI-triggered accessible job portal for youth with disabilities is a dream come true. In 10 years, Youth for Jobs has become the largest organization in South Asia for linking youth with disabilities, for training them and linking them to sustainable livelihoods. When we won the MIT's prestigious Future of Work Award, and I was in the US campus, the judges who had voted for us unanimously among all the global entries, again and again told me that an exclusive job portal triggered by technology was a natural next step forward for Youth for Jobs. And it is happening today. I chose the name to stand for what we all believe in: Gandhian values and a strong belief that when vulnerable sections of the society, like youth with disabilities, get trained and linked to jobs, it takes the entire family out of poverty in a very sustained manner. We see it every day. Hence, Swaraj ability with the byline, independence for youth with disabilities through technology, training, and jobs. How did this happen? How do these wonderful partners come together? You may wonder. I wrote a mail to your office, Professor Vijay Raghavan, maybe 6 months back, and you were kind enough to circulate it to all your institutional members, saying this is a good cause to support. And in Hyderabad, the city, Youth for Jobs is headquartered. The director, IIT Hyderabad, Professor Murty, responded. One call, and I realized here was a person who shared our passion of making a difference in this space. Then Birat, with his multi-country experience, came on board for development. Throughout your office, Professor Vijay Raghavan has supported us in looking at the platform critically, suggesting experts and modification. And to top it all, we have a funder who believes in us, the Kotak Mahindra Bank. Prakash ji, the chairman of the bank, who's here with us today, is not just a business leader, but he has an amazing social heart. It's this unique partnership of tech, knowledge, passion to make impact, which I think has helped all of us to come together to create Swaraj ability for the youth with disabilities, for the companies, for the government, for the NGOs, and indeed for our country. Our Honorable Prime Minister has given us a wonderful legislation, the Right to PwD Act 2016, which for the first time emphasizes the right for persons with disability to education and employment. Unconscious biases, deep-set attitudes, poverty, low education levels make 70% of them underemployed or unemployed. This is the scale of the problem we are working on and tackling. Yet ILO tells us that if we connect them to the labor pool, it will increase 5% of our GDP. Swarajability is a step forward in this direction to help shift persons with disabilities from the virtual cycle of poverty they are in to the virtuous cycle of opportunity. I'm very clear this work cannot be done alone. So let me thank all of you for supporting us and for committing to support us to together create an inclusive India and an inclusive world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your vision, your work have always amazed us, and I'm sure there's no doubt about Swarajability amazing us too. We are certain that bringing it to fruition is but a blessing for the entire nation. Well, I'm honored and happy to invite our first guest speaker, Shri Jayesh Ranjan, a member of the IAS and the Principal Secretary of the Industries and Commerce and IT departments of the Telangana government. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening to respected PSA, Dr. Vijay Raghavan, Professor B.S. Murty, Mr. Apte, my friend Birad, Meera, all colleagues from Youth from Jobs, all other participants, all other attendees. First of all, I would like to convey my compliments and congratulations to Youth for Jobs for putting together this very useful and a very user-friendly portal, which will help create this match between those who are seeking jobs and people who are prepared to provide those jobs. So this is again something very unique, and I'm very happy that it is making a beginning from Hyderabad, from Telangana. I'm also happy that so many people came by to support this initiative, particularly IIT Hyderabad, Kotak Mahindra Bank, and lots of people in their individual capacities like Birad Yagnik and so many others. And of course, Office of the PSA, which saw merit and value in this particular initiative. I would like to make a couple of points basically targeted at Youth for Jobs. While the portal is amazing, and you have mentioned that this is also AI enabled, which also will help both the employees in finding out what will be the best fit for them, and also for employers, because they will be getting a pool of CVs, etc., which will be more precisely targeted to their requirements. This is great. But I would also suggest to Meera and her colleagues that we still need to do lots of interventions in terms of, first of all, training the employees so that they become eligible and effective job seekers, and the gap between their workplace readiness and the kind of expectations the employers have, that is really at its minimum. I would also, because I have experience of conducting capacity building programs, skilling programs for persons with disabilities for many years now, and through years of experience in trying it out for the IT sector, for manufacturing sector, for textile sector, for gems and jewelry sector, and also tourism and hospitality sector. The model which works the best is, of course, classroom training, technical training, supplemented a lot by soft skills, workplace readiness or job readiness, but a very important and a strong component of on-the-job training, some kind of an internship or apprenticeship. So the way you are looking at your training programs also, please ensure that this component of on-the-job training or apprenticeship, etc., internship, etc., is included. And if you require any help from us in the government, we'll be very happy to make that happen. The other issue is about continuous sensitization of the employers also. While Meera knows this, that we have participated in multiple iterations of Abilities Mela and other kinds of sensitization programs. And of course, it has yielded very good results. Large number of companies today are recruiting persons with disabilities, and not as a matter of charity or compassion, but for many of them, it is making business sense also. Many of the companies have realized that by employing a person with a disability, the productivity is actually more than a regular employee, and because it makes business sense, and not just out of compassion and charity, as I said, they're employing candidates today. So we should continue to support such organizations, etc., recognize them. Government gives industry awards, IT awards every year, and we do recognize companies who have taken large number of persons with disabilities on their payrolls, etc. But still, much more sensitization is required. We still need to conduct multiple rounds. There is never an end to this kind of a process. And the more we take up these kind of sensitization programs, the better the Hyderabad ecosystem will be. And obviously, we have to give good examples, because if you are able to tell to the pool of employers that these are the 5 companies who have gone ahead, they have taken multiple people, and their track record is immensely praiseworthy, it also kind of sparks some kind of internal competition. And looking at the example of one company, another 5 come up and start to emulate them. So I'll be very happy to continue to support all your initiatives, Meera, and very happy that this portal is getting launched today. I will also like to provide a link to your portal through our official digital employment exchange, which is called DEET. So at any point in time, if you can send your technical team to us, we would like to share APIs so that on our official Telangana government digital employment exchange of Telangana portal, we will be able to give references and links to Swaraj, the new portal that you have launched today. So greetings once again, and thank you very much for inviting me for this session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jayesh. Ranjan, there were some wonderful words of motivation, offer of support, and invaluable suggestions that I think even we are in line with the goals of the training and placements set with Swarajability by Youth for Jobs. So we are absolutely excited by your words of support. Thank you very much again. We now have our next distinguished guest speaker, Shri Prakash Apte, the chairman of Kotak Mahindra Bank, here with us today. When Meera envisioned Swarajability, Kotak Mahindra enthusiastically agreed to fund this unique initiative. With heartfelt gratitude for making this day happen, Mr. Apte, I invite you to share a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Sangeeta, for the kind introduction. And good evening to everybody. Respected Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Professor Murty, Dr. Maunendar, Dr. Meera Shenoy, Vijay Raghavan, sir. Thank you very much. You know, Kotak Mahindra Bank has equal opportunities for education and livelihood. Those are the 2 themes on which, we focus. But as you can very well imagine, when in normal course itself, it is a challenge to meet these objectives. But when it comes to specially able people, it becomes extremely more difficult. And that is where, people like Dr. Meera, Shenoy, and initiatives, like Youth for Jobs, that is where they create a special space for us, in our heart for in our CSR efforts, because without them we cannot reach this particular. We don't have the ability to reach these people, and therefore today, as this Swarajability and AI-enabled portal is being launched, it is indeed a proud moment for us as well. To have a small association and to have given a small helping hand to this feature. So therefore, I would like to congratulate Meera Shenoy and her team for this first of its kind platform with AI-driven features for persons with certain limitations or special requirements to have easy access to job opportunities. And it will cover multiple sectors as I understand. And it will have an easy access. It will be user friendly. It will be even accessible from rural and deep interior, areas of India. So naturally, I mean, this enlarges the possibilities, of giving a choice to our differently able people, in a great way. So this will create a new ecosystem where the job portal, can be utilized by educational institutions, non-government organizations, corporate companies, employers, as well as the differently abled youth will be in a position to very quickly find out, what fits their specific skill set and their requirement very well. So although it is a beta version, I would like to wish all the very best to this endeavor, because as I was saying before, in the corporate world, one uses technology, and the focus is improving productivity, improving effectiveness of our operations, and reaching faster to our customers and what. However, deploying this kind of technology, artificial intelligence, for helping to enhance the independence, the safety, the empowerment, and the dignity of our brothers and sisters, young minds, who are having all the capabilities, but having certain handicaps in reaching the opportunities. I feel that it is a great valuable contribution to the society. And I would specifically like to compliment Youth for Jobs, Meera, Shenoy and her team, IIT Hyderabad, Professor Murty and his team, and Rajan sir for catalyzing the whole thing. I wish every success to this effort, and I'm sure it will go a long way in changing, the lives and the opportunities and bring some happiness to our young youth, which is waiting for job opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Apte, for your kind words. With your support, this initiative is sure to create the impact we had all hoped for. Speaking of impact, Youth for Jobs has been grateful to many a visionary over many years for inspiring us. I'm pleased to invite one such gentleman, Professor V.S. Murty, the director of IIT Hyderabad, who shares our vision and passion for impacting the disability space. So over to you, Professor.
Good evening, friends. Professor Vijay, Raghavan, Jayesh, Ranjan ji, Meera, Viraj and Prakash ji. Thank you very much. And I've been listening to the great contributions that Meera and her team has been doing. I think our interaction started, again, we should thank PSA's office. Thank you, Vijay Raghavan ji. One day, about 6 months back, Sapna from your office wrote to me saying that here is an organization called Youth for Jobs. Very interesting. I was really touched by the name itself. It is not job for youth; it is Youth for Jobs. Okay, that itself is unique. That you prepare the youth for jobs. So that itself tells that they are interested in skilling. And I have another personal interest. 35 years back, I met a physically challenged lady, and we decided to live together. And hence, so I have a lot of interest in how to be useful to physically challenged. And we have together, both of us have done a lot of things all these 35 years. So I immediately contacted Meera madam, and that's how 6 months now we are here together to bring out the first fruit. I would only call it a first fruit because there are many more fruits that are going to come as we go along. I'm very happy that I have good team of IIT Hyderabad, particularly Maunendar with his whole team. They came forward and they immediately shared our passion of Meera's and mine. And Maunendar said, I am with you, sir, and let's do it together. And that's how today this beta version is coming up. But there are many more things that we can do, Meera madam. I was just talking to you. For example, IIT Hyderabad is just inaugurating its research park 2 days from now. On 5th of February, the ST secretary is coming to inaugurate that. And we can think of having some space for Youth for Jobs there, and then see how we can start working more closely together. This is one. And we also have a TIP, Technology Incubation Park, getting ready. Again, one more 1.5 lakh square foot area. The TRP is also 1.5 lakh square foot area TIP is also 1.5 lakh square foot area. That is going to be ready in 1 more month. In March, we are planning to inaugurate that. So that's another area where we can do a lot of skilling together. We have started, kind of adopting a few villages nearby IIT Hyderabad and trying to see how we can pick up the youth there and skill them. And then we are trying to set up a skilling center at IIT Hyderabad. So in all these activities, particularly selecting these, I would say, specially gifted people. I won't call them as physically challenged. I see in every one of these physically challenged, there is a gift there. Okay, there is a very divine gift there, and we should nurture that gift and ensure that they become one day a proud citizen of India and bring laurels to the country and laurels to the whole world. I think let's all work together. I am with you on this, and you can count me in any time for any of your activities in this particular direction. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Vijay ji, special thanks to you for making this happen. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your words of wisdom and passion. I think I would be speaking for everybody here when I say that our passion is well ignited from your speech today. So thank you very much for that. Like as you said, proudly you talked about Dr. Maunendar. So I would like to take this moment to thank him and invite him. Dr. Maunendar is from IIT Hyderabad too, who has put together a visual presentation for all of us to witness some of the interesting highlights and features of Swaraj job platform. So this is a very interesting few minutes next that we are very curious to know about. Dr. Maunendar, please take us through Swaraj.
Thank you very much. Let me start by sharing my screen. I hope the screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, visible.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for assembling here today for the beta launch of Swaraj, which is a job platform for persons with disabilities. So this initiative is brought to us by different organizations, Youth for Jobs, Kotak, Mahindra, IIT Hyderabad, and the Office of the PSA. The implementation and the development is done by Visual Quest India or PQY. Before looking at what is there in the portal, let us try to understand why do we need such a platform at the very first place. So I'd like to play a small video that was prepared. .1% of the total population of India has disabilities, and it's not a very small number. An overwhelming majority of them live in the rural areas, and they have a low level of education. These factors happen to be major hurdles in identifying them, training them, and recruiting them for the economy. Thus, they remain in the vicious cycle of poverty. Our vision through this project is to move them to the virtuous cycle of opportunity with AI and technology. The objective for the first phase of this platform is to register them, skill them, and recruit them. And we want to do this via a digital platform, a platform that is designed and developed to be inclusive at the core. This digital platform will have multiple tools of engagement that will allow the persons with disabilities to first explore, then understand, and then get registered. And once they are registered, we can skill them and they can be now a part of the productive economy. What we also realize is that when they are a part of the productive economy, a lot of social stigma that unfortunately is attached with disability, that starts fading away. They are not considered to be a burden to their families and to their societies. Thus, we should be able to uplift the socio-economic status of this youth with disability. When we looked at the existing alternatives, we saw that most of the existing portals, they're very difficult to access. Many of them ask the users to fill up a very detailed, very elaborate form, ask a lot of inputs, and often there are very complicated instructions that the users have to follow. Going by statistics, the three most prominent disability types in India are visual impairment, speech and hearing impairment, and locomotor disability. Now, when we talk about PWDs having these kind of disabilities, filling up those kind of detailed forms becomes very difficult. And then all those platforms, all those portals, they show different kinds of information in a complicated way. It is very difficult for them to grasp. So when we thought of designing a portal, the first point that came to our mind is that the design itself should focus on the PWDs. So we thought of having a conversational interface for easier registration. And we also wanted to have a mobile version for wider reach. I'll show a brief demo of how the mobile interface works.
Hello, I am from the Youth for Jobs team and will help you join this platform. First, please let me know if you are differently abled. Please select the right answer below. Or if you are visually challenged, please wait for 5 seconds after the beep. Thank you. Please select your gender.
So there are questions in a sequence like this that the user can answer and get himself or herself registered. So what we see here is that the instruction is coming in different modalities. We hear audio, there is a sign language interpretation of that, and also there is a natural language transcript. So the youth who unfortunately has some disability, depending on the nature of disabilities, can possibly get one of these mode of communication and will be able to proceed. So this is one core design, crucial design impact that we wanted to make. Then we also realized, apart from the rural youth, there are a lot of urban population who are there with disabilities, and many of them also have decent educational background. Many of them actually go to web portals for doing things. So we felt that we should also have similar kind of conversational interface on the web version so that they can enter their details through that. I'll show a brief demo about that here. So there is a user whose name is Mohini who wants to log in and who wants to update her profile. So what we see here is that, again, the system is asking her questions one by one, and the user is selecting the different answers, and all these things are going into her profile. So when we have this kind of conversational interface, what happens is we are focusing on one question at a time. So there is not too much cognitive load that we're putting on the user. Essentially, the system becomes much more accessible to the user from that context. Also, it reduces the information clutter, so the user is able to focus at only one place. Then we are also pre-populating the answers as far as possible for the questions which support us to do that. And when we have that, the user can simply select the correct option and go forward. So this also reduces the typing effort, which is a big achievement when we are talking about people who have different kinds of disabilities. And since these touch-enabled devices are becoming more and more popular, we feel this design will also stand the test of time. Once the user is able to register and come to the portal, there are different AI algorithms that can be quite useful for them. For example, when the regular youth or the youth who do not have any kind of disabilities, they want to search for different jobs, they can go to different search engines, they can go to job portals, they can come up with their keywords for searching, they can select different filtering conditions and so on. But when we talk about PWDs who have low vision or who have speech and hearing impairment, then locomotor disability, all these things are very, very difficult for them. So the things that we ourselves consider simple are very, very difficult for them to even get started. And then many of them, due to their lack of exposure to the job market, due to their lack of proper education or limited education, many of them do not even know the kind of jobs which are there for them. They do not even know, they are not aware of the different sectors that accept people with their types of disabilities and so on. So we felt if we can have a job recommendation system, which by looking at the nature of the disability, the skills that the youth has, and so on, can recommend the appropriate jobs to them, it will be a huge, huge benefit to them. So the user will not have to trigger or initiate any action. The system automatically recommends or suggests jobs to them. So this is going to be a core feature of the system. And then we also have different other features like responding to the user queries using AI techniques and suggesting training plans for career progress. So Dr. Jayesh Ranjan was also mentioning about training plans. Yes, the system can also suggest training plans, and the platform can also give him details about the different training modules that are existing. While talking with the PwDs, one thing that we got to realize is that they have a lot of curiosities. Many times they have a lot of apprehensions, inhibitions. They are nervous. They don't know what to expect from the society. So they want jobs. They're not very sure whether there is somebody who is going to offer them jobs or not. There are so many of these questions that are cluttering their mind. So we also attempted to create a video bank where we'll have testimonials from youth who have already got jobs. We'll have testimonials from alumni. We'll have testimonials from the corporates, the trainers, the HR persons, and so on. And with all these video testimonials, we'll also have the sign language interpretation and the natural language description so that people can grasp the information very easily, and possibly that will soothe their nerves and also prepare them for the future ahead. So far, we were talking about the PwDs, and we are building a system focusing on them. But to ensure that we're doing the right thing in the right way, we wanted to test our system, whatever we have developed so far, in multiple stages. We want to do the testing with persons with disabilities. And when we did the testing and we got the feedbacks from them, the feedback was really, really very encouraging for us. They felt that the platform is for them. They felt it was welcoming. The bot interface was liked by them, and it was felt that the registration was also very hassle-free. Once that first step of registration is taken, the other things will fall into place like a jigsaw puzzle very quickly. Also, there were a little more expert people who evaluated the portal, and they said the portal or the platform is loaded with very useful accessibility features. The navigation and the grasping of the information content is very simple and very easy. We were talking about the PwDs who will be using this platform, but we realized for a platform of this scale, if it needs to succeed, we need to have different stakeholders as part of this platform. The corporates are one such stakeholder who has to be part of this system. So through this portal, we also offer different supports to the corporates. So corporates can enter the job descriptions, and we ensure that they mark the disabilities considered, the nature of the job, and the skills that they expect from the youth. Youth for Jobs has a huge team who has expertise in working with PwDs, providing trainings for them, placing them, and so on. Through this platform, the corporates can also obtain different services from them or teams like them for facilitation in the hiring of PwDs, organizing different workshops related to disability sensitization, sign language workshop, etc., accessibility audit, and so on. Through this portal, through this platform, when many people register here, we also get to know their education level, the kind of work that they do, the skills that they had, the trainings that they underwent, the different types of jobs that they applied for, the jobs that they got placed for, and so on. Now, this data also becomes very, very helpful. It can be very useful for policy making. So in this platform, we can also expect many central government and state government authorities to join. Training providers, NGOs, educational institutes who want to extend their support to promote diversity and inclusion efforts, even they can join this platform. Essentially, this is a platform for all. And if all of them join, definitely we see a synergy. And when that happens, we can proudly say that, okay, the ecosystem that is centered around the PwDs, that becomes much more greener. So today, we are having a beta version of the system. Going forward, we intend to extend and enhance to more functionalities and also add more, following which a public launch can happen. So that was all about Swaraj ability. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So here we want to change the socio-economic standard of the life of the persons with disability. And hopefully Swaraj ability will be a platform that can be an enabler for that change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maunendar. Thank you so much for such informative insights. And we are really amazed by the research and the efforts that have gone into designing Swaraj ability. We are indebted to you and Professor B.S. Murty for this. Well, now for the big moment, it's a great honor for me to invite our esteemed chief guest and the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor Vijay Raghavan. Sir, we are elated by your presence and we are ready to pick up the pearls of your wisdom. We also would like to humbly request you to state the official launch of our beta version of the AI-triggered accessible job platform Swaraj ability for the people with disabilities. Thank you for being here and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sangeeta Raghavendran. Professor B.S. Murty, Director, IIT Hyderabad, Mr. Prakash Apte, Ms. Meera Shenoy, Jayesh Ranjan. I see Ajit Rajnekar here, and all the others present here. It's really a great honor for me to go through all your talks and to see the presentation which was done so nicely by Maunendar. This is quite extraordinary. Although it's a beta version, I'm sure that you will go through and check it through completely, and we'll have a public launch very soon. And that launch will come after the user community has experienced this substantially. First of all, I'd like to congratulate and thank Mr. Prakash Apte of Kotak Mahindra. You know, it is a very, very critical aspect of glue that the CSR provides, linking youth for jobs like organizations with institutions like IIT Hyderabad and allowing these kinds of developments like Swaraj ability to come in. And I think you will set the stage for more such kind of proactive interventions all over the country by multiple other organizations. So congratulations to you, to IIT Hyderabad for being the tech hub for this, and for Youth for Jobs and Meera Shenoy for working together. The independence of persons with disabilities through tech training and jobs is very, very important. Let me just tell you something very simple. Many people feel that people with disabilities, have challenges coming into the traditional ecosystem because of the need for connecting and because of the challenges they face. But just imagine a world without spectacles. If you didn't have your eyeglasses, all of us who use eyeglasses are people whose disabilities have been taken away from us because of the power of this tool. And this is so standard now. Similarly, hearing aids will become standard for anyone with hearing problems. The cyber-physical tools which are coming on, walking sticks which can sense the environment in very nuanced ways, other kinds of cameras which can read and convey to you, will increasingly become common and more available. And therefore, the technological change and access to frugal technologies will change the world of those who are disabled. Now, that requires a constant testing out in the community of what I call enabling prosthetics of various kinds, whether it is quality shoes for certain kinds, or eyeglasses, or hearing aids, or technologies of various other kinds. It is these kinds of collaborations which you're seeing both in the software sector, which you're seeing now, and in the hardware sector, tested out in versions which people who need them check them out, and then scaled by industry is what is going to be absolutely transformative. Now, we heard some numbers about people with disabilities, how over 2% of people have disabilities, but also keep in mind that this 2% is distributed over age groups. Certainly youth are a very vulnerable and very important category, and their jobs are very important. But there are very small children who have disabilities which can be addressed. And if they are addressed early on, then the disabilities become an extremely small component. If they are left and they don't have the opportunity to learn how to read and write and communicate in a certain time window, then the opportunity for integration goes down enormously. So this beta version of Swarajability is extremely valuable, and Maunendar ran through all its facilities. I would say one of the most important components in all of what he said is about mentorship. If there are people who are able to easily use the app and the technologies and so on and so forth, then they can certainly connect with others in multiple ways. But imagine those who are in families which are first generational use of technologies and who are not familiar with this or cannot afford this or do not have a layer of mentorship over that of the technology. There, the mentorship is going to be very, very important. And that mentorship really has to be attending to the person. It's not easy to have, video programs and content saying that here is the way I'm mentoring for this kind of disability or that kind. It has to actually be in person as far as possible, at least in terms of a phone call away and a one-on-one interaction. So I would urge a link with volunteer groups to ensure that this mentorship is something which can happen. Such volunteer groups need to scale, and after you scale it in your community, it will have to scale elsewhere. And there I would use a variety of technologies again to link to already ongoing NGOs, other organizations, state government organizations, their portals, so that there's an ease of communicating, skimming through the various opportunities and using the best. I'd like to end by saying the greatest value of this will be if you get minimum critical feedback after some time of trying it through, and people take what you're provided as a matter of course. This should be something natural which they use and not something which they feel that they have to thank you every day. Other opportunity platforms of various kinds, such as LinkedIn, for example, people who use those don't go to LinkedIn every day and saying, thank you, LinkedIn, without you, my life has no meaning, right? They just use that and they get on with it. Similarly, this should also happen over here, that this platform should become so widely used, linked to other kinds of platforms which provide jobs, so that people use it as a matter of routine in the community and it becomes standard. For that, linking this with schools for people with disabilities of various kinds will also be very important. So congratulations again. And I'm sure that you'll see the full launch very soon and it will be a very effective one. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Professor Vijay Raghavan. Such golden ideas have been noted, and I am sure that we are going to engage as a team and provide much more support in a wider range. Gratitude and congratulations are in order for all of us. So with this great beginning set by you today, we are aware of the immense responsibility we are taking for the well-being of an inclusive India and an inclusive world. Well, we have now come to the end of this wonderful event. I request my friend and colleague, Mr. Sameer Nair, to address his vote of thanks. Sameer?
It's my honor and privilege to give vote of thanks on the occasion of the launch of beta version of the AI-triggered accessible job portal for persons with disability, Swarajability. Our heartfelt thanks to Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, Professor Vijay Raghavan sir, for launching the beta version of the job portal. We thank the entire PSA office staff constantly supporting us, especially Dr. Sapna and her team, as well as Dr. Nimisha and her team. Thank you, Professor B.S. Murty, Director of IIT Hyderabad, for always being a friend, guide, and philosopher to us. Also, thank you for including Dr. Maunendar in the project. Special thanks to Kotak Mahindra Bank for funding the project, Mr. Prakash Apte, and also Mr. Rohit Rao for his understanding throughout and the support. Thank you, Sri Jayesh Ranjan, IAS, for taking the valuable time to attend this event. Mr. Birad and Mr. Raghavan from the Y4J team, a big thank you for developing the platform. Thanks to Mr. Amar Jain, an accessibility expert, for providing us with valuable insights throughout the process. And big thanks to our alumni youngsters for testing the platform throughout its trials. And thanks to all the guests, participants, and Y4J team for helping to make this event a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening and a great evening.
Thank
very
you
much.
all.
Thank you.
All the best, Meera.
Thanks. It's all the best to all of us. We have to roll together.